Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now August 1st of 2023, and as we get closer to things like Star Wars Ahsoka, the Marvels, as well as Disney's Wish throughout this year, you're going to begin to notice a pattern on whether or not Disney is improving or continuing to fail, and I think that the latter is more likely, to be honest. Now, given that Bob Iger and the Disney board, they are in a constant shakeup over specifically and mainly the Marvels and Snow White and what to do with these two projects and exactly how they're going to market them moving onwards. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on with Snow White 24. Now, we know that this movie is a train wreck to begin with. Bob Iger basically admitted to this. We talked about this not so long ago. Go ahead and check it out back. We know that Bob Iger is labeling this as the most diverse Disney remake yet, and it's going to be something of value to them, that they're trying to really figure out the challenges on how to promote and really get this movie out to everybody globally speaking. Now, that brings us to the next piece about what's going on with the plot of Snow White 2024. Now, we all saw what happened with The Little Mermaid, right? That, honestly, was probably one of the worst remakes in a very long time, in my personal opinion. I would like to hear your take on that as well below in the comments. But one thing about Snow White 2024 is that it takes it to the next level, because this is a film that started Disney with the movies from the very beginning. Now, with that being said, of course, with the Snow White backlash only getting worse for Disney as they completely revised the film. However, one major development surrounding the existing footage of this movie has much to do with a major piece of the plot for Snow White. One of the big sequences shot back in June of 2022 involves the 7 dwarfs, or as they like to call them, magical creatures, as Disney likes to refer to them as that, talking to Snow White about why she is single and has no boyfriend. Zegler's portrayal of Snow White continues to deliver dialogue that her father taught her to not rely on love as a guide for life, and that she doesn't need romance as her goal is about to becoming a leader. The 7 dwarves have a scene where they are all in their beds communicating with Snow White, talking about life and the values of love, and why it's so important in life. Disney goes as far to have Snow White disregard the conversation and change the subject about facing the evil queen in her castle and forming a plan instead. Now, let me just say one thing about this. This whole, do you have a boyfriend thing, or why don't you have a boyfriend type of thing, is quite apparent to what happened almost in The Force Awakens, where we have that cringeworthy dialogue where Finn asks Rey, do you have a boyfriend? You got a boyfriend? It just felt so out of place with Star Wars to the point where you realize what Disney is all about. They throw, these real-world kind of conversations into these fairy tales, or in this case, Star Wars, in that case, Snow White as well, in different ways. It's almost like copy and paste dialogue material that just destroys itself. It just really kind of takes away the overall feeling of it being a fairy tale or being fiction, right? So, moving onwards here, alright, we know that Bob Iger and the Disney board and all the higher-ups over there have an agenda with this movie. Alright, it's all about really stripping away the values of the original 37 flick and really kind of just doing something that's going to stand on its own, to the point of where it becomes cringeworthy. So it gets worse. Let's discuss. Another big scene that was further shot back later in July of 2022 revolved around Gal Gadot's evil queen communicating with the magic mirror. There is a full-on sequence in which the magic mirror sings a song about Snow White to the evil queen, something that was never done in the 37 original. As the magic mirror sings the song, part of the lyrics are reported to acknowledge how Snow White is as tough as they come. The song provided by the mirror is said to deliver a message to the audience about how spiritually strong Snow White really is, with her resilience that was passed down from her father. Lastly, a major shot that will spark criticism involves where the 7 dwarves call each other names. The name Dopey does indeed get dropped at one point in this movie on one of the characters, and the other dwarves actually pitches in, which is described to be a female dwarf, popping in and delivering dialogue on how that's not a nice thing to say. The names of the dwarves are seemingly nicknames in a joking manner in this film, as opposed to their real names like in the original 37 movie. So guys, basically what it's kind of like being executed as, it's like, imagine a scene where the dwarves are doing their own thing, and you have one dwarf saying, "Hey, Dopey," or "That's a dopey thing of you to do," and one of the other dwarves comes in and says, that's not really a nice thing to say there, take that back. This just goes to show you how crazy Disney is getting with playing things extremely safe, trying to not offend anybody, trying to really not get any kind of backlash. I mean, the leaked photographs of the Seven Dwarfs really gave them, like, a deer in the headlights type of situation, right? Now they're, like, really scared, fearful of the general public and what they're gonna say about this movie and whatnot. And it just goes to show you how this movie is really gonna be, I believe, the worst remake by Disney, live action wise, of course speaking. So, we went over this slate before. Disney already has plans for a Sleeping Beauty remake, a Hunchback of Notre Dame remake, as well as Lilo and Stitch. That's been well into development for a while now, but it's been on a pause for several factors. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the week, because we got some developments on that too. But what's interesting about this is how Snow White 2024 adds in a whole song that's being done by the Magic Mirror, really acknowledging how Snow White is the almighty and powerful individual, whereas in the original, Snow White was weak, yes, but she was respected, and she was actually a valued character because she finds her way. And the problem with this is that we have people out there like Rachel Zegler, and yes, even Gal went as far to say that, yeah, this movie is all about, Snow White not needing romance or not needing true love or a Prince Charming, and she loves that. Both Gal and Rachel Zegler love those ideas, and they're all part of the same group. Let's be honest here, at the end of the day. I don't think Gal is really kind of fixing anything here, though she did leave those projects, which is respectful to a degree. It's still apparent that Gal is sided with the narrative of this movie of how Snow White is basically, standing her ground and becoming somebody of, strength. Somebody that does not need, romance or Prince Charming. So Disney's basically sending a message to younger audiences that this is, the core value of life, that you don't need somebody. You don't need anything like that. And I think that's the problem here, is that they're really kind of just tarnishing the original stories. I say don't even remake anything further into live action adaptations. I think that they just need to stop. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.